Here to fuse the analog and digital worlds tonight at L'Oro Jewellery in Vaughan Mills Mall is Swiss-made luxury sports watch brand L'Oro Werdelin. Jorn, I'd love it if you could just tell me a little bit about how the brand was conceived. I know that there's a pretty interesting story behind it.
Well, somehow it was actually started in Canada because I went heli skiing in 2002, and we came up with this idea that you have watches and you have instruments that you attach on top of it, so that you transform a watch from what is a watch, a lifestyle item that you wear every day, to a performance instrument. So what we do is, day to day we wear a watch. When I go skiing or when I go diving, I have an instrument for the skiing and for the diving. What I did in banking was sort of in between two things, because my father and grandfather had watch shops. So I grew up in that environment. So until I was 22, I worked with my father or for my father. But then until I was 36, I did finance. I worked in investment banks in London. And then we got this idea about starting and making watches and instruments. And that's what we've been doing since.
How would you say the company stands out in a market that's very highly competitive?
I think, well, first of all, we stand out because we are the only people that make watches with attachable instruments. But I'd like to think also that we stand out in terms of the craftsmanship that we offer, and we make very unique pieces, both in terms of the case, the movement, and the whole thing. I think there has to be a balance for what you offer the customer. The family that's most popular for the moment is the Spyro family, which consists of the Spyro Speed that we launched in Basel 2011, and the Spyro Light, which we have just launched and will be delivered in a couple of weeks. Then on the side we have the 3-time and the one which are more the classical pieces, almost what we started out doing in 2002. I mean, there's a clear development in what we used to do in 2007 and what we're doing in 2011 and 2012. There's a big evolution in terms of how we think about what we do, because we keep on delving into the watch and think about the movement, the dial, the case. How can we do something which is really particular to what we do.
Why did you want to bring the brand to L'Oro?
And when we met Heiko in Basel earlier this year, we sort of felt an immediate, there was something to do. And I think what we need is a retailer who really understands what we do and likes specialist brands. I mean, there's a big difference between selling a big brand and something which is a niche and a specialist brand. And I think L'Oro clearly understands that, and that's why we do it. It is a partnership, and we need to work close, because if you sell a big brand, it doesn't actually need to be sold by the shop. It's almost handing over. But people come in here, they don't know much about L'Oro Jewellery, and they want to have a good and solid explanation to what is it, why should they buy it, what is it that's so special about what we do. And for us, we are much more about the product, where big brands are much more about marketing, and that's why it needs to be explained, and that's why it needs to be a retailer that understands and appreciates what we do.